What do you do when you're stuck creatively? You find yourself in a creative rut. I want to share 5 tips and tricks that will help you get out of your creative rut. None of them involve lighting incense, waiting for the stars to align. They're all practical and you can apply them right now. So let's dive in and get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to Behind the Spacebar. Behind the Spacebar is the podcast for playback techs, musicians, music directors, really anyone performing live on stage with Ableton Live. Today's episode is going to be a little different. It's going to be I'm going to tell a bit of a story of a situation I was in recently and something that really helped me. And today has really nothing to do with Ableton Live, unless you're using Ableton Live in a creative context, record, produce, whatever. So if that's not your thing, if this is a little too esoteric, a little too new agey for you, then skip this week's episode and come back to next week's. But what I want to talk about is, what do you do when you find yourself in a creative rut? What do you do when you find yourself in a situation where creatively it's almost like writer's block? Like you feel like you're writing songs, you're producing music, and you're just stuck. What do you do when you feel stuck? For me in particular, we just moved in this brand new house, set up a brand new studio space here. I'm getting the room settled, trying to get the room set. I had to record. I pre-recorded a lot of content before we left when we were traveling, but I had to record just 1 week's of content. I know it was going to take a couple weeks off, but I had to record one week's of content, week's worth of content to kind of fill the gap. But as I sat down to record, man, I was in a creative rut. And also it was like everything was against me. It was like my computer was having issues. My interface was having issues. Just everything that could possibly go wrong was going wrong. And so I 100% just kind of was bummed. I felt myself in like a creative rut. And I had to find a way out because I had to just very practically, I had a bunch of videos I had to record. I had to get stuff done. And so, again, that was about a week or so ago for me. But I got out of that creative rut, thankfully. I've been recording content pretty frequently now. Things are going well. But I thought what I wanted to do, this is the world's longest intro. It's like the worst intro ever. But anyway, what I thought I wanted to do was share some tips, 5 tips I have that for me helped me get out of that creative rut, right? It helped me get out of that scenario that I was in, struggling to create, to keep going. Here's what I did. I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you're on YouTube. I love having this podcast on YouTube because it's a bit of a way we could be a little interactive, on Apple Podcasts or whatever. It's just you listening to me lecture, like a little workshop for a while, which is great. It's awesome. Glad you're there. Stay there. But YouTube is great because you can leave comments and interact. Okay, so let's start at number 1. When you find yourself in a creative rut, when you find yourself stuck, number 1 tip I have for you is to say it out loud. What I mean by that, this is something that my wife and I have kind of realized has been a really helpful utility for us. Even beyond just this like creative rut, even when we feel down, even when we feel frustrated, we feel angry, we feel depressed, whatever it is, something that's been really helpful for us is to say that out loud. And we have found by saying it out loud, it disarms that statement, right? I'm in a creative rut. I feel stuck. I feel like I can't write songs. For me to just say to myself, maybe even say this to someone else, to say, man, I feel stuck. I just feel like today I can't create. Feel like I'm struggling to come up with ideas. I feel like the ideas I have aren't good enough. I feel like I'm not creating, good enough ideas to release. I'm not writing good enough songs to release. I'm not making videos good enough to throw on YouTube for tens of thousands, hopefully soon, hundreds of thousands, hopefully soon, millions of people to see. Say that out loud. And by you saying that out loud, I have found in my own life that disarms that statement. It disarms that ability to for that thing to have control over you. So saying out loud is a really, really helpful utility for us. This next one's going to sound silly, but deal with me. Work with me here. Trust me. Number 2, when I find myself in a creative rut, something that's really helpful for me is to schedule a pity party. Now, here's what I mean. Again, I know this may seem and sound kind of silly, but what I have found to be super helpful for me is to literally grab my phone, to open the timer app and to set a 5-minute timer. And within those 5 minutes, what I literally do is throw a pity party for myself. I take 5 minutes to just be bummed, to be frustrated that creatively it feels like things aren't going my way. I take 5 minutes to just, be and moan about the fact that I'm trying to get these videos done. I got to get these videos done. These YouTube people, they just keep asking for a video every day. It's like just whatever you got to do. I take 5 minutes, I schedule it. I use that as an opportunity just to like just vent, to be frustrated, right? I take those 5 minutes, and once that timer is done, I'm done with the pity party and I get to work, right? And that has just been a really, really helpful utility for me. Just really helpful tool to again, give myself space to mourn, space to be frustrated. And then after those 5 minutes, I move on and I'm done, right? Okay. Number 3, and this seems like an oversimplification, but this is on the heels of saying it out loud. This is on the heels of taking some time, 2 to 5 minutes, whatever it is for you, to mourn, to be frustrated, to have a pity party. But number 3, keep going. And again, I know that sounds like an oversimplification, but objects in motion tend to stay in motion. People that are creating tend to continue to create. Personally, for me, I struggle with creating videos when I have a long stretch when I don't create videos. So, I could not create a video every single day if I had to literally create a video every single day. What I mean by that is, if I had to wake up in the morning, record a video, send it to John, my copywriter, to write copy, to send it to Aaron to edit, send it back to me to review, to then have my wife Amber post on YouTube to get everything ready and social done and all that stuff. If I had to do that every single day, there's no way I could do that. So a trick I found is I record in batches, right? I'll take a week and record everything for the month. But when we sold our house and we moved and we were traveling, I took, I think, a week to record like 2 months worth of content. And it was amazing because I basically had 2 months off. I'd recorded all my courses, recorded all my videos, and it was just this really cool kind of time with my family, with my kids. It was during the summer and they had a break from school, obviously, and it worked really, really well. But what I found in the interim is, it was amazing when it was happening, but when I had to come back and start creating again, I struggled to create. And I struggled to create. For me, it's because I feel like it's not going to be good enough. I got to get the cameras right. Is this one good? Is that one good? Is everything perfect? The lighting good? This shot's a little dark. I need to brighten it. Whatever. I just got to go. I just got to do it, right? And for me, just keeping going is the thing. Like for me, it's super important for me to just start. If I'm not keeping going, maybe I should have even changed point 4 to, instead of keeping going, it's like start. Maybe that's where you are, but whatever it is, start and then just keep going, because objects in motion tend to stay in motion. People creating tend to continue to keep creating. So if you're struggling, start, and then it's just going to keep going, right? It's just going to keep going. Now, there's going to be struggles to start, and there's going to be struggles to keep going, and it's because of fear, and it's going to be because of fear that things aren't good enough. And I want to talk about a way to squash that. Actually, points 4 and 5 are all about fear and things not being good enough. But before I do that, I have a quick ask for you. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're notified when I post new content. It's just an easy way to say thanks. It's an easy way to stay in tune and in touch with stuff, because every single day, 10 a.m. Central, I post a brand new video Monday through Sunday, and I don't want you to miss it. And if you're over on Apple Podcasts listening, make sure you subscribe, follow the podcast. Do me a favor, leave a rating or a review. I'm trying to get to 100 ratings and reviews by the end of the year. So we got a couple months left, and I think we could do it. 100 reviews is nuts. When I started this process, we were at about 38, and it keeps growing and keeps going. So help me get to 100 by leaving a rating or review. Now let's talk about fear, insecurity. For me, I often struggle. The struggle I have when I find myself in a creative rut, it's tied to me feeling like it's not good enough, me feeling like what I'm going to create is not going to be good enough. In those situations and scenarios, here's what I have to remind myself. Remind yourself perfection is a myth and completion is attainable. Let me say that again. When I find myself in those situations, I have to remind myself that perfection is a myth, but completion is attainable. A better, sexier, fancier way to say that is real artistship. That's something I've heard Steve Jobs say, and I think it's Picasso or something. I've heard it attributed to a few different people, but the idea of real artistship is just the idea that people that are doing the work do the work, right? Again, it's like, wow, great statement, Will. But for me, when I think, oh, I got to get the lighting just right, I got to get the video angles just right, I got to get the audio just right, and those things are important. I don't want to release crap. I don't want to release garbage, But more important to me than perfection, because in reality, perfection is not attainable. It's not possible. But what is attainable is for me to create. And what is attainable for me is completion, to say, I need to record 7 videos this week. I can do that, right? If I try to record 7 perfect videos, maybe. Well, I can't do that because it's impossible. 7 pretty good videos, maybe. But what I can do is record 7 videos. And me recording those 7 videos is going to get me way closer to better videos than me sitting around for 2 months theorizing and reading books about how to create great videos and train people really well. The best way for you to get better, the thing you're doing, the best way for me to create better content is to create content. It's funny how that works, right? Again, it goes back to objects in motion tend to stay in motion. Start. Keep going. And when you start to feel that fear bubble up, you're going, Will, but I'm a perfectionist. That's a lie. There's no such thing as perfectionist because no one can be perfect. All you can do is ship. All you can do is do good work. Let me make sure I enunciate that really carefully. All you can do is ship your work, right? Some of us may think our work is the thing. It sounds like ship, but do the work. Okay. Number 5, read The War of Art. This is a book by Pressfield. It's the absolute best tip and trick I have for you. It's the most important thing you can do. In it, Pressfield talks about the resistance and why it's so difficult to create anything, whether you're writing a book, recording a song, creating a podcast, recording a tutorial video, whatever it is, you're going to face creative resistance. And in it, Pressfield talks about and shares some really practical ways to push past the resistance. But for me, this is one of the most important things. It's the most important thing I've ever read or learned when it comes to creating, to my work. Probably one of the most influential things to help me create more, to help me be okay with imperfections, to help me keep going when I'm in a creative rut. So that's all I got for you today. The most important thing you should do right now, click the link in the description, click the link in the show notes, purchase The War of Art by Pressfield, go to the library, borrow it, rent it through the Libby app or however you read ebooks, purchase it on Kindle, whatever you got to do, listen to it on Audible. That's really not reading though, I hate to tell you, but whatever you got to do, read The War of Art. It's going to change your life. That's all I got for you. Have a good one. Take care, everybody.